at this Virgo lunar eclipse, we have an opportunity for a quantum leap to step out of the illusions that we may have been attaching to from mental projections or illusions that have been generated from self-doubt or disbelief or simply being too stressed. And now we have an opportunity to make a shift into sensing, slowing down and sensing the reality that actually exists in the background at all times, irrespective of the illusions or scenarios that we may be working with. And what happens is that inspiration starts to rise instead of illusion or confusion that may have been in existence before. But now we are invited also to come into an energy of creative inspiration. Welcome to New Light Living Podcast. I'm Ulrika Sullivan. I'm an intuitive spiritual life coach and a galactic astrologer. This video is a galactic astrology reading of the Virgo Lunar Eclipse at 12 degrees 54 minutes on March 3rd, 2026. Welcome. What I do in these videos, I put an outer layer of fixed stars, celestial bodies, and galactic points to the traditional Western tropical astrology wheel. And that is to help us expand our perspective and our experience into a multidimensional experience, which is how we are connecting to the cosmos while being in a physical body. And the perspective we can gain from that is a wider, bigger, more expansive quantum perspective. So I invite you to explore this video, not just from your mind, but also as an experience of the energy itself and how that may express itself into your life. So what you'll receive in this video are 3 energetic themes that I've pulled out from the lunar eclipse chart. And then at the end, I'd like to share some questions. Should you want to integrate this Virgo lunar eclipse energy some more? And if you're curious how you can learn about your soul's journey, your quantum self, your multidimensional self, I will share some opportunities with you to work with me at the end of the video as well. Are you curious about your own galactic alignments? Download my Galactic Alignments Reference Guide. There's a link in the pinned comment and the description box below. And I have a little announcement because our channel membership here, inside the membership, we will have a monthly Q&A call exclusive to the members of the membership. So if you feel drawn to what I offer with inside the membership, such as personal responses to questions you might have on the current energies and how it applies to your own chart, members only videos where we go deeper with the current energies with more juice, so to say, and also the highest level of the membership, the universe level, where you get access to courses, additional live Q&As, and more. So if you feel drawn to what I'm sharing here, you may be someone who would like to join the channel membership. Thank you for being here. All right, let's get started. The Virgo lunar eclipse is a full moon, and at 12 degrees of Virgo, it is in square with one of the galactic points, the great attractor, at 14 degrees of Sagittarius. And this is a powerful square that we will explore more in the energetic theme 1 coming up. The ruler of this lunar eclipse is Mercury, and Mercury is in retrograde at 20 degrees of Pisces, and in sextile with the Lyra Ring Nebula M57. And we're going to talk more about Mercury also in theme 1 coming up. This Virgo lunar eclipse feels like it is a clearing of confusion, clearing of illusions that we may have gotten ourselves into, which is so easy as we are exploring a lot of the experiences in our external world by the mind, and we make up scenarios and illusions of what truly is the reality. Our mind plays games with us sometimes, and we can hold a distorted picture of reality. Now, the lunar eclipse supports us in clearing some of that, coming down to earth and seeing the reality for what it is. As we are clearing the mental illusions, we are invited to instead use our senses to discern what the reality actually is. Because we are also in a space now where we have an opportunity to sit down, create more space to take in what the senses are telling us, as the mental illusions are getting either challenged or cleared away. Mental projections often creates self-doubt. We don't give ourselves enough time to sense the reality or sense the intuitive hit that we're getting and the time to trust it. So this is a shift at this Virgo lunar eclipse. I feel that the mental projections or mental illusions that we often resort to when we are in a rush are more and more getting cleared away in favor of really sensing the reality and what truly is worth paying attention to. And as we do that, there is also a new spark that is turned on within, a passion for that truth, that reality that actually exists all the time, that is more clear, that is more focused, that is more pure in that sense. And that becomes an energy of passion, inspired action, where we can take now decisions from a more clearer perspective. And if we go further into this clearing, we also find gems within ourselves that may have been lying dormant, or gems that we have never really come across before, because now we have opened up that space within ourselves. So this shift from illusion to reality can be quite a wake-up call when the reality is a non-negotiable state, where there are no scenarios, or when there are no what ifs or self-doubts or illusions that we are running through our mind. Now it is a sensing of what the truth is behind everything. And the sensing happens through our body, through our senses, rather than a processing of the mind. So this is an exciting time we're in, because we are tapping into this universal wisdom that is ever present, that has no be or not to be. It just is. And that's a very comforting feeling and space to be in. And at this Virgo lunar eclipse, we are integrating pieces of truth into our experience of wholeness. And that's a great place to be. All right, let's take a look at the lunar eclipse chart next. So here we have the Virgo lunar eclipse chart. And as you can see, the moon there in Virgo at 12 degrees, almost 13 degrees of Virgo, in opposition with the sun at 1254 of Pisces there, in conjunction with Pallas Athene there at 12 degrees, 20 minutes. So that's almost an exact conjunction between the sun and Pallas there in Pisces. And as I mentioned, also, we have that square to the great attractor in Sagittarius there at 14 degrees. And with the great attractor, I apply an orb of about 5 degrees, as opposed to most fixed stars, I put a 2 to 3 degree orb. But the great attractor is a galactic point, so that is a little bit more of a greater magnitude. And this T-square is a significant one. And what we see also with this chart overall is that we have still a concentration of alignments in Pisces and Aries, and that's going to continue for a little while here, because we are now in a fire hydrant energy with the fire horse new year, but also that we have had the Neptune-Saturn conjunction on February 20th already, and now we're in March here. But the focus on Aries is going to continue. And the moon here at the lunar eclipse, in opposition with all that energy, highlights to us the need for balancing, to come into a grounded reality as all of this energy in Pisces and Aries are very fiery and watery, which can also speak to that illusion versus taking action on illusions may not be always the best thing. But the moon here, it provides a balancing energy and highlight to the sign of Virgo, which is an earth sign that brings it down to reality. So yes, there's a lot to talk about at this Virgo lunar eclipse. So without further ado, let's dive into the first energetic theme that I've called From Illusion to Clarity. So here we have the first theme that I called From Illusion to Clarity. And that's the theme of this Virgo lunar eclipse, I feel, because we have this beautiful conjunction between asteroid Pallas and the sun there in Pisces. And what does Pallas Athene provide? She provides embodied feminine wisdom. And in Pisces here, conjunct the sun, it is a highlight on those qualities that Pallas represents. She is the creative intelligence, but also a strategy warrior in that sense. She uses her intelligence to navigate the illusions, if you will, in Pisces. And that is the opportunity here to use the discernment at this time to help pave the way for that clarity. And in addition to the T-square with the great attractor, we also have a sextile to Canis Major-Sirius at 14 degrees of Cancer. And that energy combined is one of integrating pieces of new truth into the whole, but also in support of spiritual wisdom. Sirius is significant in terms of providing an influence of wisdom as well. Canis Major-Sirius also is strongly linked into the body and physical healing. So this sextile is telling us that it's a very supportive time now to tap into the body and the messages and the wisdom of the body to integrate pieces of new truth that is becoming clear into our whole perspective. And Jupiter is there in Cancer in retrograde to expand that inner wisdom around the reality that we can discern from tapping into our senses. We also have a grand Earth trine. And this is also further giving us guidance around our senses and how we can tap into our reality to gain clarity. And this is a grand Earth trine with Quaoar at 12 degrees of Capricorn and also Andromeda Almach at 14 degrees of Taurus. This is a beautiful stabilizing grand Earth trine. And Quaoar's contribution here is, again, to put our spiritual practice into a structure that works for us and that is built on expression through the body, such as dance, rituals that really brings the body in the forefront of that wisdom. And also Andromeda Almach is how we can tap into beauty and artistry through the earth element. And Andromeda Almach energy is associated with beautiful, expressive, creative expression through the earth element. And if this wasn't enough, the great attractor is in opposition with asteroid Psyche and asteroid Eros in Gemini at 14 and 15 degrees. So this builds a grand cross. And if we go back to the T-square we have with the lunar eclipse here, and in opposition to the great attractor is asteroid Psyche and asteroid Eros at 14 and 15 degrees of Gemini there. And that is a powerful combination that brings in also the intuitive attention to the soul's journey and the bigger perspectives that we now have an opportunity to grow further and expand into. So this builds a grand cross, which I often interpret as a harmonious growth opportunity with all the squares, but it's an harmonious energy. And the focus here around asteroid Psyche and Eros in conjunction suggests that we are invited now to tap into that lust for life in the earthly, but also tap into that soul connection at the same time. And in the members only video, we're going to explore a little bit more about what this inspired action initiation is all about, because this Grand Cross is definitely a message for us to utilize our insights about our soul's journey to tap into that creative expression that can rise now as we are moving from illusion to clarity. So here we have Eros, Psyche, and Pallas that play an important role in this Virgo lunar eclipse. And Eros, with his inner passion and drive, more of a masculine energy that taps into this creative magnetism of life and lust for life. And Psyche, that is tapping into the soul's journey, making an expansion into beyond the physical. And Pallas Athene, of course, conjunct the sun here, which is the epitome of embodiment of feminine wisdom and clarity. So this is a beautiful combination of energies and guidance that we receive from this Virgo lunar eclipse. So part B of this energetic theme is also that I wanted to highlight the ruler of this Virgo lunar eclipse, which is Mercury in retrograde. And Mercury is in conjunction with asteroid Nessus at 20 degrees of Pisces. And that's also an important message for us. And Mercury and Nessus are making a sextile to the Lyra Ring Nebula M57 there at 20 degrees of Capricorn. And also we have a square to Orion-Bellatrix in Gemini there at 21 degrees of Gemini. And what we can glean from this combination of energy is that Nessus conjunct Mercury there is bringing in a significant message and focus on resolving ancestral trauma or facing the energy of the lower frequencies that ancestral trauma is bringing. And the sextile to Lyra Ring Nebula at 20 degrees of Capricorn there is speaking of the collective impact of this Virgo lunar eclipse. And also the square to Orion-Bellatrix. Orion-Bellatrix is linked into lack of self-direction, that type of energy. But in the higher frequency, it actually becomes self-directed. And that is a significant shift here. That square is suggesting to us that we have the opportunity to release those confusion energies and move more into a self-directed energy and also align more with flow. And then Mercury will continue retrograde all the way to 8 degrees of Pisces and meet up with the North Node there as Mercury is stationing direct on March 20th. So this message here is going to be further discussed with both the Sun and the North Node. So it is an important guidance around the direction forward here. So here we have the Lyra Ring Nebula and watching eye that symbolizes the Lyra Ring Nebula and the connection into our collective humanity here on Earth. And then we have asteroid Nessus conjunct Mercury there that highlights the importance to face ancestral trauma or any trauma of any kind, to harness the opportunity of transmutation of energy to a higher frequency. And here we have Bellatrix in the Orion constellation there that is in square with Mercury and Nessus. And Bellatrix is this energy of coming into clarity in many ways. And as you can see, Bellatrix is here in the arm of the Orion hunter there. So it is a very directed energy that is also associated with forward movement. So the guidance here is to take the opportunity to clear the confusion and to come more into a self-directed inner harmony and flow. So this energetic theme represents the messages around the Virgo lunar eclipse to a great extent. And the influence here from the asteroids is significant, particularly Pallas and Psyche and Eros there, but also dwarf planet Quaoar in that Earth Grand Trine, that stabilizing guidance that we can receive as we tap into our body's wisdom through, for example, dance and any other body movement. All right, let's move into the next energetic theme. Theme number 2 that I've called Heart Energy Transmutation next. So here we have the second theme that I called Heart Energy Transmutation. And in this theme, we're going to focus on Venus. Venus is now at 26 degrees of Pisces. It's almost looks like it's in Aries there, but it actually is. But Venus is still in Pisces. It's just really stacked up in Pisces there in terms of glyphs, but she is at 26 degrees of Pisces in square with the galactic center, another galactic point at 27 degrees of Sagittarius there. And Venus is also in square with another Orion fixed star that's called Saiph at 26 degrees of Gemini. So this is also a powerful T-square that we're going to talk about. And Venus here at this Virgo lunar eclipse is doing a significant job because she is tapping into the heart frequency, and the connection there to the galactic center suggests that there's also a collective impact on this. Venus in Pisces speak to that unseen divine feminine energy that we are guided to tune into and trust. While we also have a square there to Orion-Saiph, and as we do that, we are naturally transmuting lower energies of self-doubt, for example, or confusion. So this T-square is a very transmuting energy. This T-square suggests that we have an opportunity to step out of our comfort zone, but we have to trust our intuitive hits. We have to trust the slowing down to come to clarity, etc. And Saiph here in the Orion constellation is in one of the legs of the Orion Hunter. So it means also that it's one of the foundational energies for stability. And Saiph is that natural transmuter of lower frequency energies to higher frequency energies. You can look at it sometimes as the lower frequencies expressed as a winner and a loser, while the higher expression is often a win-win. But there's more here to Venus's interactions with the fixed stars. Venus is also in a grand water trine that is with BetaCentauri at 24 degrees of Scorpio, and also with Canis Minor-Procyon at 26 degrees of Cancer. And that builds a grand water trine. And this is a beautiful tap into unconditional love, and also how we now are integrating new spiritual technology through our body, which means that we are connecting the dots with what the wisdom of the body is and how we're utilizing that for how we experience our daily life and therefore walk through life with increased clarity. And the link here to the element of water can also be the intelligence of water itself, the element of water, and how we tap into that and integrate that new spiritual technology into our understanding of reality. So here we have Canis Minor-Procyon at 26 degrees of Cancer. And Procyon, we've talked about a lot in my videos in the past. Now Procyon is back in the focus at this Virgo lunar eclipse. And Procyon is associated with new spiritual technology, how we are combining our wisdom of our body with science, for example, and evolve further into understanding how we are integrated with our environment. Canis Minor-Procyon to me is that new spiritual technology that is linked into our intuitive empathic self that needs no words or methods to be understood. A new spiritual technology that has to do with our senses, our body, and how we combine that with technology. It could be hard technology, but also soft technology, and how we continue to understand what our role in the universe is. So yes, this heart energy transmutation is driven by Venus's presence in Pisces and her connections to the galactic center, to Orion-Saiph, but also to BetaCentauri Hadar and Procyon there, Canis Minor-Procyon in Cancer. So this is a powerful heart-centered energy that we are invited to connect with and to be guided by at this time. And it's very linked into creating more space to hear the life in the reality rather than attaching to the illusions that may cause confusion. All right, let's tune into energetic theme 3 that I've called New Leadership Paradigm. So here we have the energetic theme 3 that I called a new leadership paradigm. And here we're going to focus on Mars instead of Venus. But Mars here in this chart at the Virgo lunar eclipse is at 0 degree of Pisces in opposition with Leo-Regulus at 0 degree of Virgo. So that's a powerful statement by Mars there that I'd like to highlight in this theme. Mars in Pisces sometimes can be very elusive and go with direction based on illusions. But Mars in power at a higher frequency has an intuitive discernment to him. And the opposition to Leo-Regulus here, the heart of the lion, also combines this leadership quality that Leo-Regulus comes with as a embodied heart frequency. And this opposition may suggest that there's time now to integrate this intuitive discernment that we now are taking action on when Mars is there at 0 degree with our leadership capabilities that comes from the heart. And of course, I can't get enough of this face of the lion and Leo-Regulus here. So it's an opportunity just for you, what you see in yourself here in that beautiful face of a lion, and how you can take that further in and express more of that courage and confidence that the lion does. And Mars is connecting now with AlphaCentauri at 29 degrees of Scorpio, and also with Sedna conjunct Pleiades there at 0 degree of Gemini. This Grand Cross was also activated back in November 2025, November 4th, when Mars was conjunct AlphaCentauri there at 29 degrees of Scorpio. So here we are now with Mars at 0 degree of Pisces, activating this Grand Cross again. And part of this Grand Cross, we have Sedna there conjunct Pleiades at 0 degree of Gemini. And we have talked about Sedna conjunct Pleiades quite a lot. So this Virgo lunar eclipse is significant in terms of the process that we have here activating this Grand Cross. AlphaCentauri is associated with divination and mastery in terms of using divination. Mars here in Pisces, we talked about intuitive direction, and Sedna conjunct Pleiades has really to do with our evolution into a multidimensional being and co-creating with the universe, with our guides. And Sedna is leading the way there. Leo-Regulus, the heart-centered leadership. So yes, this Virgo lunar eclipse is a significant milestone in this ongoing shift we're in terms of consciousness expansion. I also wanted to highlight Varda again because Mars is making a sextile to Varda at 0 degree of Capricorn conjunct the galactic center. And this is a significant statement by Varda and Mars here, of course, in combination to illuminate truth further. Varda is that cosmic navigator that shows the direction forward, brings hope into challenging times by being the leader, being the navigator when the route forward is not 100% clear. And here we are in the times when illusion is cleared into clarity, relying on what's not clear to come more into clarity. But I hope that the images also helps with tuning into the energy of these celestial bodies. We have Pleiades, of course, that is so significant in all of our evolution here at 0 degree of Gemini conjunct Sedna. Sedna, who wants us to tap into our unique energy and her unique orbit of 11,400 years here, and her making a statement, having entered Gemini here at 0 degree. There is a new beginning ongoing on how we define ourselves and our role in the universe. and Varda, who can see in the future, even though it feels cloudy sometimes, and provide that hope to illuminate truths that are important to tune into. Varda is a great influence in terms of bringing our intuitive hits into a structure and allowing ourselves to trust more. And if we go back to the chart here, Mars is also on a little journey here, meeting up with the North Node in Pisces at 8 degrees on March 13th, and then with Mercury at 10 degrees of Pisces on March 15th. So this is also bringing the messages of the Virgo lunar eclipse into the next couple of weeks. And I should also say that any eclipse is a lasting one. So expect the effects of this Virgo lunar eclipse and also the previous solar eclipse to last about 6 months, which is an extended time as opposed to any new moon or full moon. What I see this energy signature as is truly a new leadership paradigm that is on its way, and the Virgo lunar eclipse is just highlighting that. The leadership, the self-directed leadership that we are invited to step further and deeper into, the heart-centered, intuitive leadership that is based in sensing rather than thinking through and using our mind as the processor. This leadership paradigm is based off of a non-separation, if I call it that, or non-individuality, coming together as a collective for the whole. And this leadership paradigm will also evolve as we move further into 2027 and the next decade. So what I'm saying here is that this shift, this collective shift that we are in, is not only for us as individuals, it's also for how we are coming together in a collective of businesses, for example. And I'm very passionate to start working and tapping into how businesses will work in the future based on this paradigm of intuitive leadership, heart-centered leadership, and also with a perspective of collective. And if you're curious about what's brewing here, check out my website on the For Business Owners tab, because I have put some information there, and you can also download a freebie, the Conscious Leaders Reflection Guide. And if you're a business owner that is curious about all of this, schedule a 15-minute discovery call with me and we can chat about it to see if your business is a good candidate for this work next. So I have a couple of questions should you want to integrate this Virgo lunar eclipse energy some more. The first question is, what is coming into clarity for you now that is ready to be manifested? And this is a very grounded question, because at this time we will feel more grounded, we will feel more clarity, and there is likely something here that is coming into clarity for you that is ready for coming into form. So what is that? And if we take that a little further, the second question is, what has been cleared now that is ready to be spread and shared out with your community, however that community looks like? Because the additional energy here is, how can that benefit the whole? And that is a perspective that we will be more frequently invited to consider. The third question is, what is the new direction that is a result of your new self leadership that you have come into clarity about? And it may also be a slight pivot for many at this time. We thought we were going in one direction, and actually we're going in another direction because of this newfound clarity. So how are you adjusting your path based on the current energies of the Virgo lunar eclipse? And if you feel really drawn to what I'm sharing here, you may be a great candidate for our channel membership, where we go deeper with the insights from the current energies in members-only videos, but also an opportunity for you to explore your own chart and how the current energy and what it means for you. And at the highest level of the membership, you also get access to my courses, live Q&As, and so on. So I welcome you there. Are you curious about your own galactic alignments? Download my Galactic Alignments Reference Guide. There's a link in the pinned comment and description box below. Thank you very much for listening and watching New Light Living Podcast. I'm Ulrika Sullivan. I'm an intuitive spiritual life coach and a galactic astrologer. This is the video for the Virgo Lunar Eclipse, and I can't wait to come back with another video for you soon. Bye.